as we end our first trip as members of the UK delegation to the Council of Europe, what's your impressions? What's the first visit been like for you?
Well, I actually think I didn't know what to expect. And actually what is very clear to me is that Europe is bigger than the EU. And here, this is where parliamentarians for the 46 members who are members of the Council of Europe have come together to discuss issues that really matter to all of us across Europe. Violence against women, the environment, and so on.
I mean, fundamentally, this is about looking at how democracy, human rights and the rule of law is carried out in our individual countries. And it's so important. For me, the takeaway moment was learning that a lot of the issues that we are told in the UK are, as a result of our own policies, are exactly the same issues that we find across the whole of Europe.
Yeah, and I think what's really interesting, Nickie, was what we heard today in the European Court of Human Rights, which applies the convention that we're here to oversee. And I think what really put it into perspective for me is that it's so important that the UK is involved in maintaining the rule of law. We have 1,000 years of human rights record, good human rights record, and we're so respected for that. So it's really vital that we are still here, part of the Council of Europe, overseeing the convention. Because if we put it into perspective with the cases, there's 75,000 cases going through the ECHR at the moment. 75% of those are 5 countries alone: Turkey, Russia, Ukraine, Armenia and Italy. We only had 260 cases brought against our government, and 255 of those fell. They failed, and only 5 were heard, 2 of which didn't win. So I think it puts it into perspective how good we are with our human rights record, but how important it is to every person living in the European community, including us and my constituents in Hartlepool, that those human rights are looked after and we keep men, women and children safe around our continent.
Yeah, I think for me, the fact that we've got a war in Europe currently, and the fact is that we've been discussing it here. We've been discussing the human rights atrocities, the violence against the citizens of the Ukraine by the Russians. And, for me, it's so important to be continuing our partnership with our European partners. Although we're not in the EU anymore, being still in the part of the Council of Europe is probably more important in some respects.
And to meet and talk to colleagues from across the 46 countries to understand better what we can do and what everybody can do
it's so much
to help.
wider,
Absolutely.
isn't it? And it's fascinating meeting people from Georgia, Ukraine.
Yes.
And I'm really proud to have spoken this week already on preventing sexual violence in conflict, and we were all there as one. Whatever our country, we were all speaking as one to protect citizens in in wartime. So I'm looking forward to coming back. You guys the same?
Yes, absolutely.
Yes.
I look forward to coming back and representing our constituencies and our country in the Council of Europe.
Proudly defending the rule of law around Europe.
Yes.